If you love space and science, you're in the right place. I post 60-second space and astronomy news videos every weekday on social media. The videos are just a couple of quick highlights to keep you up to date on the biggest stories of the week and inspire you to dive deeper. In case you missed the daily shorts this week, here's a cut of all the stories in one video. We talked about the damage radiation can do to humans out in the solar system, the upcoming launch of NASA's Europa Clipper mission, and a comet that you might be able to see with your unaided eye. There's a ton more stories in here, so enjoy the video. Please follow and drop a like on the video if you enjoy, and consider subscribing on YouTube so you don't miss another space science update. Earth's magnetic field protects us and even astronauts aboard the ISS from much of the damaging radiation that the sun emits. But once we go further, say to the moon or Mars, we lose our shield and the DNA in our cells could be damaged. A NASA CubeSat mission called BioSentinel launched in 2022 to study the effects of radiation in space on yeast cells. BioSentinel's primary mission ended successfully after a few months, but the mission was extended and the satellite is now orbiting the sun beyond Earth's protective magnetic field, studying whether big coronal mass ejections like the one that gave us the amazing auroral display back in May pose a threat to human health. For the May storm, BioSentinel did not detect any significant increase in damaging radiation compared to what we experienced here on Earth. This is a cool repurposing of a completed mission by NASA, and the science being done to examine our space environment is essential as we venture out into the solar system. Comet Tsuchinshan Atlas, aka Comet C 2023A3, was discovered independently by the Asteroid Terrestrial Impact Last Alert System and China's Purple Mountain Observatory back in January and February of 2023. Astronomers think this is the first time the comet has passed through the inner solar system for around 80,000 years. The comet is now putting on a great show for viewers with telescopes or binoculars in the hour before dawn, sitting right next to a waning crescent moon. Astronauts aboard the ISS can even see the comet, as you can see in this image. The comet will be visible before dawn until October the 2nd, and then will return to visibility after sunset on October the 12th through the 30th. The exciting news is that the comet will make its closest approach to Earth on October the 13th, and there's a really good chance that it'll be visible to the naked eye. Predicting the brightness of comets is notoriously difficult, but keep your fingers crossed for an incredible viewing experience. If you do a web search for the name of the comet, you'll get results for many online guides to finding it in the night sky. Back in April, NASA selected 3 vendors to develop rovers to be used by astronauts on the lunar surface. Intuitive Machines, Venturi Astrolab, and Lunar Outpost are all beavering away on helping astronauts zip around the surface of the moon, as well as making sure they're able to remotely control the rover for autonomous operations. To support rover development efforts, engineers at NASA have built a testbed prototype vehicle known as the Ground Test Unit. The GTU will allow the 3 vendors and NASA to test out new ideas and concepts for the lunar terrain vehicle, such as the details of the crew compartment and how science modules could be integrated. The goal is to have an LTV ready for Artemis 5, which is currently scheduled to launch no earlier than March of 2030. Of course, these vendors will have their eyes not just on a vehicle for the moon, but ultimately for cars on Mars. You can find a lot more details on this story in a NASA article over at phys.org. That's how there may have been multiple dinosaur-killing asteroids. The 180-kilometer diameter Chicxulub crater centered off the coast of Mexico was the result of an asteroid impacting Earth around 66 million years ago, causing a mass extinction event. A new study has found another extremely well-preserved crater off the coast of West Africa, dating from the same era. High-resolution seismic imaging has allowed scientists to gain an unprecedented understanding of the impact event. The 9-kilometer wide crater would have formed when a 450-meter wide asteroid impacted the Atlantic Ocean at 72,000 kilometers an hour. This would have caused an 800-meter high tsunami and a magnitude 7 earthquake, plus climate-changing events similar to those following Chicxulub on a smaller scale. The next step in the research is to drill cores into the crater floor to better understand the physics of the impact and the sequence of events that occurred afterwards. Could this happen again? It's possible. The most likely impactor we know of is asteroid Bennu, and NASA predicts a 0.04% chance of a collision occurring in the year 2182. Next week, NASA will launch its Europa Clipper mission to study Jupiter's 4th largest moon. Europa is a frosty world with an icy crust that's believed to have liquid oceans beneath, and there is hope these may harbor life. The mission will attempt to confirm the presence, nature, and chemical composition of Europa's surface and its subsurface oceans, as well as examining the geology of this moon. The radiation environment around Europa is very harsh, and modern instruments gather data much faster than they can transmit it back to Earth. To allow the mission to survive for longer, it will actually orbit Jupiter and make 44 flybys of Europa at different altitudes. Between each pass, it will have 7 to 10 days in a less hazardous radiation environment to transmit results back to Earth. Scientists estimate they will retrieve 3 times as much data using this strategy as they would by orbiting Europa. Launch is scheduled for 9:31 a.m. Eastern on October 10th and will be carried live on NASA TV. If you live north of 40 degrees latitude, keep your eyes open in the next few days for Aurora. Have a great weekend. I will see you back here on Monday.